Can warm up the crowd. Tell a story.
Before we start the appointment with the Angels appointment, today was the Shloshim. This is Miriam Waitman. Now we're going to have Siyum, Shisha Sibel Mishnah. his Mishnah, and afterwards, Chaim, Mishnah Chatzet,
Just wait for him. He's just finishing the last one.
Today, hey Teves was the shloshim of my mother, Olav Shalom, and so I'm just finishing up the last Mishnah in Uksin. When one learns Mishnahs and when one says the last Mishnah, one tries in a way to connect the last Mishnah with the person themselves. So usually you try find the name in the Mishnah, you try find something that they did in the Mishnah, and something that was them. So the three things that you basically look for to see if you can connect the Mishnah, and I was lucky enough to find all three. In the first word of the Mishnah, Omer Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. In the first word, Omer, the first two letters are the word Ein, mother. And we see the inyan of a mother, and I'm referring to my mother, is an inyan of stability, an inyan of bringing comfort. And we see even that the mother in Yiddishkeit is very important in bringing comfort, that we see even by all the Geulos, we see this inyan of Ein, Aleph Mem. How do we see this? We see by Geulas Mitzrayim, which is the ultimate comfort. This was the inyan of Aaron and Moshe, Aleph Mem. We see by the Geula of Purim, we see also the ultimate comfort, which is the inyan of Ein. We see Esther and Mordechai. And Mitzvah Shem will see for the Geula Shema, we'll see the inyan of Eliyahu and Mashiach. So this is an inyan of Ein, and these are the first two letters of this Mishnah. So, Omer Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says, Asi the Kodesh Baruch Hu, Alhan Kolach Al Tzadik V'Tzadik, Shalish Meis, V'Asarei Lamis. That a time will come when Hashem will endow each and every of the tzaddikim with 310 olamis. Shanama, as it says, Hankel Ohave Yesh V'Tzersei Mamale. That I will endow it with substance, and I'll fill all the treasuries. And we learn this out from the inyan, from the word Yesh, which is Yud Shin, which is 310. So we learn that everyone will receive the 310 treasuries. Interesting enough, Al Pi Chsiddish, Yesh, the Chsiddim would say stands for Yud Shvat. Ayin is Yud Aleph Nissen, but that's for something else. Amar Rab Shimon ben Chalafta. Looking next into the words of the Mishnah. Amar Rabbi Shimon. The three words put together, every second letter spells the word Miriam. Amar Rabbi Shimon. So I see that my mother's name is mentioned in the Mishnah, Ben Chalafta. Leimotza Kodesh Baruch Hu Kli Machzik Baruch Yisrael El HaSholem. That Hashem finds that what is the main thing and the only thing that can be a Machzik for Yisrael, this is the union of Sholem. And I see this was one of the midas of my mother. As I mentioned times before when I've discussed by the outside by my father, I never ever saw an argument between my parents. I never saw any argument or raising of the voice. So there was this complete union of Sholem, which was something special. Shanama, as it says, Hashem Oiz Le'amiyitein, Hashem Yevarech Esamei V'Sholem. Rabbi Chanan ben Kashay ben Rav Tzaddik Shvark und Zaki Yisrael mit der Tür und Shnema an den Kavitz von Zitko Yad Teves Yad Iskada Shmeirabo die Brother say Gamat Papa say Yad Sarko Kani Karim Shikhai Kani Kol Beis Yisrael by Golavis Man Kari Dimrame my Yisrael Vishnav Visrema Visnas Visadolus Lev Low Twin Coach Abribo Leo Kavat Host of Shiva so Tushkos and Hamasot Minimum Vimrame Ali Yisrael but upon about Tamlin Malko Tamide Samin Malko Mothers Kimirai Sadvasan Adin Palasavasa Yahela Van Shlomarabak Hilvista Rachmin kind of Lichinum Zervich of Karma Boin Vishmaya Vimrame Yeshma Madaba Min Shemaya Vahain Pain Lane Malko Yisrael Vimrame I say Shalom Vimrama for Yasser Shalom and Malko Yisrael Vimrame
We need some muscle.
Which will be, I'm sure, elaborated in the course of the Fabrengen. Those who remember many years ago, when I was growing up here, by every Fabrengen, which in those days were mainly the major Fabrengen mission, Teves Kislev, Teves and Yishvat, there was always a Maimer Chazid at the Fabrengen. And for some reason, in the course of the years, this has not been followed most of the time, except by Shabbos afternoon Fabrengen, the time of Reiden by Shalom Judas. So I don't need to apologize, Chas v'Sholem, that Chemaim is going to be Chazid now, and it makes perfect sense, 101%, that if a Fabrengen of Teves, sure many people have read over the past couple of days all the different things which have been sent around on social media, which should only be used, of course, for Dvarim Shebidusha, and especially Afotos and Mayonis. And that one of the accounts telling us the manner that when the whole court case started, so the Rebbe stopped saying Maimorim to a degree, that elaborating that Teves Kislev, the court case started on Teves Kislev, involved. I was there. If I remember correctly, the Maimon then was not with the regular Nigan. If I remember correctly. Is that correct? I think the Maimon was a Maimon came Sichi, Teves Kislev. What happened to Yishvat? I remember there, I wasn't there, Yishvat. I read one that said there was no Maimon, there was no Maimon. Maybe there was, somebody just wrote that, how to understand what the whole issue was. The issue was an attack on the Rebbe's Messias, you saw that the Rebbe stopped saying Maimorim. So therefore, it's not just because it happens to be the birthday of Rosh Hashanah or Johnson that he is saying Chazing and Maimor, but I think that in the celebrations of Teves, this is a very, very important thing. So without further ado, we'll sing a Nigun Hafana, and Rabbi Johnson will say Maimor. We will mention that, of course, we will make a Hafsaka for Meirid and continue the Fabrengen after Meirid.
Teich, and the Indian of the approach of Yehuda to Yosef is the Yichud of Yehuda and Yosef. We find a similarity in the Haftarah of the Parsha where it speaks about Asid Lavai, that at that time there will be two sticks, one stick of Yehuda and one stick of Ephraim, and yet the Melech Echad Yellow Kolam, there will be one king over all of them, who is David, like it says, David Melech Aleim, the David Abdi Nasi Lo'elam. The David Amelech will be king over them, and my servant David will be king forever. Because Ephraim here is the Iker of Shevet Yosef, like it says by him, that the younger brother will be the greater one, and also he was the Rosh of the Degel, which included within it also Shevet Menashe, like it says in the Pasuk, all of Matan Menashe. And David represents Shevet Yehuda, and therefore we see that the Teichen of the Haftarah is also the union, the Chibur and Yichud of Yosef and Yehuda. That both of them will be under one Melech. The Torah is Nitzchis, and from this we understand that in this union there is a Hira Nitzchis for every single person of Israel. Even in the story in the Haftarah, which is in a Vula Asid Lavai, is also something which is Nitzchi, and therefore is Shaykh even now. And Kol Sheken Kabbalah Choyme, those in Yonim which have already taken place, which is the approach Agash's Yosef to Yehuda, the approach of Yehuda to Yosef. And since the Torah was given in a way of Hira Yisrael, that says Tznavis B'nai Yisrael, David B'nai Yisrael, it's understood that the Iker is that it's a Hira to every single Jewish person. And the Hira is the Iker in the union of Kol Echad Echad Yisrael, in the Avodah of Anin Nivreis and L'Shamish, as Kohen Yah was created only to serve my master. Bira Inyan, as explained in the Drushim on Parashas Vayigash, the Inyan of Yehuda and Yosef, these are the two Inyanim of Talmud or Limud and Maisa. And there's a Machlokes in the Gemara, which is greater, whether Talmud is Gadol or Maisa Gadol, because Yehuda, he was the one who was greater than his brothers. And he was the Melech, which the Iker Inyan of a Melech is to be Poisek, what should be the Maisa B'Poel, he determines what should be the action. And that is also the idea of David HaMelech, which says about him, Va'avti David Daika, that he's an Ebed. The Inyan of Avdus is expressed specifically in Maisa B'Poel, which is the Inyan of Maisa Gadol. Whereas Yosef represents the Inyan of Talmud, of Limud HaTorah, because the Inyan of Talmud is it should be in a way of Shalah, it should be in a way of increasing, the one increases in their learning, in their understanding, the Havana Basaga. This is the Inyan of Yosef, Milashon Hoisafa, and it's also the Inyan of Ephraim, which is from the Lashon Keep Ephraim, the idea of expanding and being fruitful, which is the idea of Riboy Hoisafa. The Tachlis of the Kavanah is that the two of them should be together, should be united. That is, that the Pu'ulas at Talmud the learning should affect inside the Maisa, and the Pu'ul of the Maisa should affect the learning. The Pu'ul of the Maisa in the learning is understood based on which the Rebbe I've explained in Hemshach Tavrish Samach Vav. When a person learns Torah and he knows that the Maisa B'Poya will be totally on the way he learns, so then he is bottled completely and he comes to the true understanding of the halacha, because he knows that this is Negela Maisa. So this is how Maisa affects the Talmud. In a similar way, the Talmud has to affect the Maisa. That means that not only does one have to have Yediyas halachas in order to lay this Maisa Sheyasun to know what to do, and that which not to do, but in addition to that, it also has to be the Inyan of Limud Havana Basaga, in a way of Yosef, in a way of adding, a way of increasing. Because it cannot be, one cannot truly pass in the halacha l'maisa without knowing all of the details and all of the reasons of the halachas, as explained in the Rishonim Mishuvah Sarash. Based on this explanation, the Inyan of Maisa is referring to mitzvahs, which is something which is mechutz la'adam, which is something outside of a person. However, on a more specific level, there are also these inyanim of Yosef and Yehuda within the person themselves, and that is in his avodas tefillah, the inyan of smichas pu'ula the tefillah, bringing close the bracha of pu'ula gal Yisrael to the Shemana Esrei to tefillah. That this is also the inyan of Yosef and Yehuda that exists within tefillah. That the tefillah is amidah. That this tefillah is when a person stands in tachlis habitul. This is the inyan of Yehuda, which is bitul, as it says in the pasuk when he was named. That now I will surrender myself to Hashem. But tamid miledes, and then it says she stood from giving birth. That through the haidah, the idea of oides avaya, then one comes to amida, which is bitul batamid. And there has to be the inyan of geula, and this is something which is shaykh specifically to Yosef, which is the inyan of Haisafa. The idea of increasing, because geula is an inyan of Haisafa. And specifically when the Geula is in a way of Qadr v'Shalom Nashi Mikravli, that is, in a way of Shalom, that there's not even a Metzius of Krav of Milchama, but it's a Geula in a way of Shalom, that is the ultimate in Haisafa. And therefore this is the idea of Smichas Geula Tefillah, that is, that there should be a Yichud and a Chibur of Yehuda and Yosef, both in the inyanim of Talmud and Maisa, and also in the inyan of Gula and Tefillah. And they are placed next to each other, and beyond that, they're misached one with the other. And this is the idea of the Yichud, which will be la'asid lavvei, when we say David Abdi Nasi Lahem La'olam, that David HaMelech will be king over all of them. We further have to understand the teichen of the Sipur of Yehuda approaching Yosef. In the Sipur, it also gives over all of the pratim of the words that Yehuda spoke to Yosef, that he said to Yidaber na'avdecha davar ba'aznei adini. And Rashi says in the pasuk, Yikam tzedvarim ba'aznecha, that my words go into your ears. And then he tells him all of the details of all of the things that had happened until that point in time. We have to understand why is the Torah marich in all of the details. And furthermore, we have to understand that after the words of Yehuda, it says, Dafka then, Yosef was not able to hold himself back anymore, which is mashma, that this came as a result of the words of Yehuda. Most of what Yehuda told Yosef was not a chidush Yosef already knew beforehand, because in most of his words he was merely repeating over things that had happened. If so, how did these words poil a shinut gadol so much in Yosef that he was not able to hold himself back anymore? Inyan hu, as explained in Barucha, in the Maimonim Teres Chaim on this week's parsha, the chidush of the words of Yehuda is that through his words he was maila, he picked up and he elevated all of these inyanim that he was speaking about to his level. That means that he was poiled of birur and azichuch in all of the details of that which he was saying, and he lifted it up to the way they are not down here, but the way they exist in their source in the Shoydish Mekoy. That is, Yehuda, when he mentioned in his speech, he spoke about how they sold Yosef, that the Chitzonius, this looks like a davar bilti ratzoi, that this was poiled, that they should be a Yurida in Yehuda, it's like itself like it says immediately after the sale of Yosef. By Yerid Yehuda, and Rashi says that they brought him down from, the Shvatim brought him down from Gdulasai, because their taina was that the sale of Yosef was the fault of Yehuda, because he did not protest against them. However, through Yehuda speaking about these inyanim, he lifted them up and elevated them to the way they are in the source, and they way come from above, that they are actually inyanim nailim, and therefore Dafka then, at that point in time, it was revealed how the sale of Yosef was actually a very lofty thing, like Yosef himself said, that Hashem sent me down here to provide before you. And he made me in charge of a paroi, because Dafka Yehuda, because he had the mile of Bittul, therefore he is able to be coiled the gilui in this inyan also by Yosef. And therefore, through this, he was able to be poiled in Yosef and Inyan Chadash. That is, that now Yosef he was not able to hold himself back, because now he had the Inyan of, and he now had the Inyan of Bichi of crying. And as you're doing, the idea of crying comes as a result of Moshe Moichin, of his lofty revelation, which is beyond being contained within the intellect. And this became revealed in such a level that the Moichin were not able to tolerate, his intellect was not able to tolerate it, and therefore he was not able to hold himself back anymore. And this is the chidush, that even Yosef was not able to hold himself back, because even though Yosef was higher than Avis and higher than the Shvatim, what you do with that Avis and Shvatim were shepherds, in order that they would be able to be bespoited, as they could isolate themselves and be unaffected by the world. Masha Eiken, Yosef, he had the koyach to be cleaving to Elokus, even when he was a Mishnah Melech in Mitzrayim, like it says in the Medrash, and that which Yaakov says, Rab Oy Yosef ben Yichai, that Yaakov was saying that Yosef is an even greater tzaddik than I am. And this is because the Mila of Yosef over Yaakov. And nonetheless, after the words of Yehuda, in a way, Vayigash Elav Yehuda, in a way of Tachlis HaBittul, the Bittul was able to be poiled a tremendously lofty gilui so much that it was even higher than the Madrega of Yosef, until the point that it brought even Yosef was not able to hold himself back. And beyond that, it affected also the entire base para, like it says, Akol Nishma base para, which refers to bases, previous Galim Kol Nahorin in the level above, which is the open revelation of all of the lights as explained in the Zohar on the Pasuk, until it reached the level, Atz Musa Musa Yisparach. It should be the Eibishter's Ratzah. The truth, speaking about all these Vinyanim, will be Zeicha B'Karim Mamish to the fulfillment of the promise of the Haftarah and now B'Poyah, the Chibur of Yehuda and Ephraim, until the point that they become absolutely one. And at that time, David Abdi Nasi Elam David Malcham Mashiach will be the king over all of them. Over simple to Levav, but take of Miyad Mamish.
The city where I have been born and grew up, Sheva, there is one of the biggest universities in Eretz Israel, Ben-Gurion University. And this university was the main seabed that among the Be'er Sheva Amash community, it was two great intellectual people that their name has been published. So, if most of you heard, two professors. One is Professor Eliyahu Branover, and the other one is Professor Vevel Green, that in the end of the last 10-15 years of his life, he lived in Be'er Sheva. And we have the privilege to collaborate with them a lot. And it was very, very interesting for Bengals, each one in his own area. Professor Branover with hydroelectric engineering, whatever, and Professor Green with his astronomic, whatever, research. And it was very, very interesting, the examples that they give from the world of science, etc., etc. But I remember once that one of them had been asked a question, and then in totally different for bringing a totally different event, the other one had been asked the same, and they answered with mamish the same words. And that was very interesting to hear from so bright people exactly the same answer, without any connection between them. We had a question that they've been asked was, how can you describe the change that the Rebbe made in your life? You have to remember that Professor Branover has been born to family that have nothing to do with Yiddishkeit. He became from in Russia, in Lithuania to be particular, and only when he came to, and he was from like 10-15 years before he came to Eretz Israel, to America when he came out of the USSR. And only afterwards he saw the Rebbe, and he understood what the Rebbe is. Professor Green, for the other end, the Rebbe was the main trigger for Rabbi Feller, to be from. So it was interesting to hear from them both, the one that had been from before they met the Rebbe, and the other one that the Rebbe was the main part of his life, what actually the Rebbe, how the Rebbe changed his life. And the answer was, I don't say the word, the exact word, but the answer was the glasses. What does that mean? They said that the Rebbe actually give a new way to look at life. They said that they've been very like stable people. Even their expertise, their professional was in the area it's called exact science. How you say it? It was something very in particular, very organized, not theories or whatever. And they said that when they come to the Rebbe gave them a new glasses. The Rebbe gave them a new way how to look at life in general, in particular in their own area, but also in their look at Yiddishkeit, etc., etc. What does that mean? So Professor Green gave an example. Okay, Professor Banover had lectures all around Israel for like 40 years in this particular area. But Professor Green said in a big excitement that the Rebbe is the only the Rebbe is the only leader, the only person with a spiritual responsibility that changed the way how people looked at Emunah and Mada. Even the name that the Rebbe gave to this booklet that has been published, Emunah and Mada, is actually reflect this change. It's not like the science came with all of the evidence, etc., and now the Torah needs to actually to see how we can fit in with the science. With all the respect, the Torah did much before, and the scientists themselves, they are the first one to admit that tomorrow it could be a new theory that could change everything around. And also in the science itself, there is many contradictions even between them. So just as the Rebbe said about the age of the world, just fix up your issues before you come to me, and you tell me that my Torah is wrong. So he said that they both said that the way how the Rebbe looked at the matter, that first of all the Torah is totally honest. The Torah doesn't need to be apologetic. The Torah is truth. The mother said that the science said different things. Okay, so let's see how we fix up the mother, how we fix up the science with the Torah. And it was also many ways, and each one in their own life, in their own private life, whatever, in their own shlichus, public life, etc., that the Rebbe makes them look at things so different. And I think everyone that saw the Rebbe's, even the Rebbe's L'chaim, the Rebbe's Dollarington, that the Rebbe gives people dollars, and it could be that in one sentence the Rebbe changed the whole point of view of the person. If a person came and he said to the Rebbe that he gave so much millions to the Rabbanos, whatever, and the Rebbe said, don't be too happy about yourself, now you have to double it. It was like, it's a fascinating how the Rebbe changed, like, instead of how to be grateful, etc., the Rebbe was. But the Rebbe also said, no, it's not. So I guess the question of today is, what is the Rebbe's point of view on Teves? Now, I can only speak on behalf of myself, that from all of the other Pagah that we're celebrating, Hey Teves is the only one that I could say that I almost been there. My father, for Gesundsein, have a good minhag that every one of his kids, when we come to the age that he can remember, he take him to the Rebbe, the Kurim, to see the Rebbe. So my turn was on Chanukah Tovshin Zayin. And on Dalet Teves, at midnight, we flew out back from New York to Eretz Israel. And I remember as a kid even, as a 5-year-old kid, that when we came to Eretz Israel, it was so many Anash, so many Chabadnikim in Ben Gurion Airport, and they always been drunk like I never saw them before. And in fact, it was someone in our flight to the palace that he now is his grandson has been married yesterday. Anyway, so he actually was in our flight. He picked up his suitcase from the carousel, and he just make a round and come back and flew back. In fact, my father had a friend that they've been teachers, so for them Hanukkah was the perfect time to go. So he said, look, my flight is in 2 days. Let's flew back together. We flew in here. Let's push your ticket a little bit in 2 days and come back. He didn't come 2 days afterwards. After Shiva Semea Mishneh was wake up. Oh, I had a ticket 5 days ago. But that was the fact. I missed it in few hours. But that's a Yom Tov that I actually feel very close to it, because I remember singing Dida Notzer in front of the Rebbe. I remember the Rebbe's approach, etc., etc. So the point is, what is the Rebbe's point of view on Hey Teves? There is many people that have been there. There is many people that I'm sure that they said that they can share their experience with the really concern about the thing. It was Bochim that said it was, as Rabbi Goldman said before, on social media in the last few days, it was many details about Bochim that have been wake up every day at 6 o'clock in the morning to say the whole Tehillim before the Seder started, until the Rebbe said that was not the Kavanah. Everyone saw the Rebbe was painful about that. So, okay, it's done, it's finished. What we need to do? What is our job now? What the Rebbe wants us to do? What is Hey Teves to us? So the answer is a little bit, it's like few layers. But let's start with what the Rebbe said. And in order, as the Pasuk said, so first of all, what the Rebbe said to not. So I know there is Fabregans that they have, like even people that have been participated in the court case and share details, etc., etc. But today I saw that someone sent a Fabregan from Rabbi Lazar, that he was a bocher this time, and he said that he, as someone who spoke fluently Hebrew and English, he was one of the only ones that stayed in the court case every day, because the Eretz Yisrael Bochim could not stay to sit there for 8 hours and don't understand a thing. And I'm sure that the English down there in the court is not my English, it's real English. And they want to understand what's going on, and America does not speak Hebrew in the level that they can translate it. So he was the one that actually sat there every day, and he wrote down a summary of what's going on. And within the court case, the time itself, he used to tear up the pages when he finished and give it up, and the Bochim take it and read it through and send it to the whole wide world with the, not really WhatsApp, with fax. And that was and he said that this pages was a part of the book that he together with some friends, wrote down for the whole story, from the beginning until the end with the whole detail. So where is this book? He said that in one of the sichas, the Rebbe said not to be kotzach and not to publish things from the court case itself. He said that was the end. The Rebbe said this, the Rebbe said. So, בנגיע לענייננו, in our event now, we understand that the Rebbe's kavone is not to be kotzach in the court case, and what was their tane, and what was our tane, unless the Rebbe learned something from it, as we're going to see soon. But the main thing is something else. The Rebbe doesn't want this askus of what this lawyer said, what the other lawyer said, and how our lawyer has been intriguing or whatever, and what the time is that the Rebbe said and what the Rebbe said to say, and what the time is that the Rebbe said not. Lav dafka it's our idea. So what is our message? What is the message for us at Hey Teves? So there is a pamphlet called the Ma'aser V'Iker. I'm sure we know that. The Ma'aser V'Iker is a leket, is a collection of the heroes, the foil, all year round. Like what's the role of foil from Teves Kislev, what's the role of foil from Hey Teves, etc., etc. So the Ma'aser V'Iker on Hey Teves is very, very simple. Unlike Yutes Kislev for example, that in Yutas Kislev there is the Indian of Megillas Yutas Kislev, and there is the Indian, as the Frierdiker Rebbe described in length in his Likutei Diburim, that it was a special Farbrengen, and people that have been remembered the Meiser from whatever, they used to say the story with all details, and if someone important came in the middle, they used to start from the beginning, etc., etc. Nothing said about that in Hey Teves. The whole Hey Teves story is about two things. The whole heroes from the Rebbe, the Meiser Befroel, what we need to take from Hey Teves is two things. One is Limud HaTorah, and the other one is Sforim. That's it. Sforim. That's it. In Limud HaTorah, the Rebbe said that we have to increase in Limud HaTorah, and Benegia Le'atzmai, Benegia Le'acherim. You have to actually influence another people to learn Torah, especially Halacha and Meiser. And if you have Shiur Torah, you have to increase it, and if you don't have it, you have to have. And about the Sforim, the Rebbe said the mitzvah of Bais Mal Sforim needs to be stronger, and mitzvah Bais Mal Sforim is an interesting mitzvah by itself. We'll come to it in a second. And then the Rebbe said that even the kids needs to have Sforim, and the Sforim needs to be in a way that the kids himself or the parents writing his name on the Sforim so he knows that it's his. And even if he's using it as the kids using it with the whole excitement and it's going to rip off, the parents needs to say to the kids, don't avoid yourself from using it because you're actually afraid that it's going to tear off. We're going to buy another one, etc., etc. So, and I'm sure that people that have been there in sincerity this time remember even all, not just the Bochim in sincerity, the Bochim in the whole yeshivas, they remember that the Miltze Limud and the test that the Rebbe said that need to be applied, that from Hey Teves until Yud Shvat, every 10 days, all of this Shloshim Yom, every 10 days is supposed to be a test for her, for the people, for the Bochim to know what they learned, etc., etc. And actually the Bochim, after they finished with the Farbrengens, they actually start not start, Boch Hashem Bochim, we don't Choshen Bochim, but they actually learn much like in the campus of the Eichus Shalom Berech, etc., etc. And the Rebbe restarted the idea of Kanim. The movement of Limud was unbelievable. So that was the Rebbe's idea from Hey Teves. And if we're talking about us, our idea, what we need to take from Hey Teves, what we need to take from this, the Dan Notzach, from the time that it was a big kituk, as we know, it was big kituk of the Rebbe. We need the way how the Rebbe wants us to celebrate it, as someone told me today. Hey Teves is Chag Matan Torah of Dor HaShvi. So what we need to do, what the Rebbe wants us to do, how the Rebbe wants us to celebrate Hey Teves, is by going to whatever, it's not here, too busy, Scholengel, is to go to the bookstore and buy some Sforim for everyone in the family, and to actually open them and using them and learning them and increasing in Limud HaTorah. That's what the Rebbe wants. Now there is one a little bit deeper view of what is Hey Teves all about, but this is already come to the discussion that the Rebbe have with a little bit like more in private to people, and then from then we can understand what was the whole idea about, and how this kitrug that has been there is actually applied for our life. But that's everything going to be. Chaim.
verbringen, there are both speakers. I want to show first a video, it's a synopsis of a movement on trial, very strong selections from the Rebbe's Teves. And from that you'll see how we'll continue to verbringen after we have the minor, and then we'll continue to verbringen. Turn off the lights, please. Turn off the lights, please.
Achille von seinem Leben ist, wie sollte in der Sakene Chai HaTzadik in das Nicht in Chai Psorim, das Chai im Ruchni. Das betont der alte Rebbe in der Sakene. Und da ist das gleich auch, aber es nimmt in Ermune und Nare und Ire. Wo lernt Ermune? Wann lernt die Bonnes von der Ermune? Oder alle wie hier, was das verbunden mit Zehn Amitzlis und Schmiedes Amitzlis Meistesse, nennt das Areis in dich, wo in die Welt hat gelernt. Jetzt habe ich nur zu sagen, was ich weiß, nicht aus in meinem Linie. Wahrscheinlich waren wir das in meinem Saal. Von Matthäus und nicht damit gedacht. Aber das hat das Gleiche. Ihnen was verbunden mit den Rebsen, die sind ja immer meine. Oder ein Ihnen nicht, oder ein Ihnen von einer Holischen. Die Sachen im Ganzen, die Leute nie. Ich gehofft, dass Sie die Klaus Holocaust zusammen ihnen, wenn Sie das mit was gesprochen sind, das echt nicht getan. In den Werken bewegen. Der Schwein hat der schwere 35 Jahre in Mohammed. Und jeder Jahr wird weiter. Ich gehe nicht mit zusammen Menschen, sie sollten es auf mich verteilen. Das ist ein Scheitchen kommen. Heter ist Emes und Emes war Miete, als in 35 Jahren Miete schon beschonnen. Wird noch mehr lebendiger und noch mehr starker und noch mehr aktiv zwischen uns und bei uns und durch uns bei jeder und bei allen, bis in der ganzen Welt. Mit dem Sehner der Schwer soll bekommen alle seine Chalokin von seinem Leben. Von seinem Leben nicht. Zieht er liegt in der Sefer oder er liegt in der Ksar oder er liegt in der Chefes, in der Luft lebt er. Und dann gern für der Luft, an dich steht sie bei Hikler Rab in Taschendesch. Soll weggehen zu sich in Stadt. Soll dort zusammenkleiden seine Jiden. Man soll sich stellen auf dem Ort, wo der Ruach Teves und wie hieß in der Ruach Teves. Und sie sollen schreien. Wo sollen sie schreien? Die da Notze. Und wie die sagt, der Kirche und der Jünger von den Marken werden, und die Teines, was man gehabt zu lernen, oder der Buch für Opfer werden, ich musste da sein, der Isopher, und ich wusste da sein, der Isopher. Schaß mir will bringen, zu noch aggressiver Linie, weil das ist der einzige Bild, was wir kommen gefunden, Idee auf Tour und Ruf soll zukommen, kam auf dem Kochen, und noch mehr, ich lebe ever, in a Potes am Majonis Schutzo.
He thought that the key document that this case really should depend on was a letter that the previous Rebbe had written after he got to the United States and was trying to get the books to be brought back from Europe, found and brought back from Europe to the United States, a letter that he had written to Professor Marx, who was the librarian of the Jewish Theological Seminary Library in New York. And this letter said that this library was a treasure of the Jewish people and belonged to Agudas Hasidut Chabad of the United States. But the Rebbe said to us, look, the key document is this one which he wrote to Professor Marx.
The defendant argued that the letter, written by the previous Rebbe in the aftermath of World War II as he tried to recover the collection from Poland, was not intended as a literal fact. To the Rebbe, the assertion that his Rebbe would write something other than his true intent was the greatest affront. The Rebbe wrote, "This argument is foolishness. In all the official documents, the previous Rebbe
Okay, now. Dance a barco.
Christmas.
service lives to get there. Unfortunately, both of them worked out for 20 years. Who's coming up to 7 years soon? So as long as you're doing it, depends on how many years they work. No problem. It's just all you pay for your benefits. You don't pay service. So you work at basically, I think it's depending on how much you are. And then you get new shit and you send you benefits. You cannot give the job to someone else. You can't have it give the job to someone else. Because or else you're getting rid of it. So now comes that job in this. Yeah. And it's for 6 months. But we have everything that says that. So we just have different stuff. So it's covering yourself.
Yeah, I'll get the crowd.
Our bringing is going to continue. Please remain. comments which was made on this video, that it was noticeable on the Rebbe his great concern about the whole matter. And as was mentioned, the Rebbe went every day to the oil almost. And a number of us was there. The Shalom Dibshke told the story how he left the night of Teves. So, well, a group of Anash from Melbourne here, we had arranged a group to go to the Rebbe for Teves and Chanukah. We got a group fair, this is how many years ago? It's 32 years ago. And then you could get cheaper fares than what we paid in a special group fair those days. Anyway, we had a group of over 10 Anash. We went for Yitzhak Kislev and Chanukah. And we left back. Actually, we didn't have to all leave back together. So there were a number of us, at least in the group, going back together. And we left Monday night, Teves. We went back to Melbourne. We found out on the plane. Now, we knew that it was very likely that the verdict would come out any day then, because it was early in January, and the court was getting back into session after their winter end-of-year break, but nobody knew exactly what day it was going to be. But it was expected that the verdict was coming out any day. But we didn't know when. My father, Shalom, actually was still in New York, not for a good reason, because he had become very sick with the bad flu, so he was in New York at the time. But we left the night before. Rabbi Chaim Gutnik, the friend of Levracha, was on board in first class, together with L'Abdu ben Chaim L'Chaim, his son Yossel. And he had also mentioned in the course of the trip that he had heard from Rabbi Rebel Shemter that any day now the verdict should be coming out. And a few hours out of Sydney, he came running out from first class to us. And he said that the pilot just came over to my father, and he said that there was a very urgent message radio to the plane, a very urgent message for the chief rabbi of Australia, Rabbi Chaim Gutnik, had to be radioed to the plane, and the pilot had written it down on a small piece of cardboard, actually it was. And on it were written two words in English, D-I-D-A-N, N-O-T-Z-A-C-H. Dan Notzach, those were the two words. So this is a very important message that the pilot has to go and find the chief rabbi of Australia, Rabbi Chaim Gutnik, and give it to him. The chaos came running out. What does this mean? What does this mean? I said, what do you mean, what does it mean? It doesn't have any two meanings. There's just one meaning. The verdict is out and Dan Notzach. You can imagine how we felt. We were a few hours out of Sydney. You can imagine how we felt, and we landed in Sydney and we didn't take the plane back. Rabbi Feldman, from Sydney, he actually took the flight that we arrived on. He took that flight right away back to New York. Anyway, but during the course of the time, we actually arrived. We arrived, I believe that we arrived, I'm sorry, I was there the year before when the court case started. I'm sorry, I'm talking about a year later I was there. I think, if I remember correctly, the year before Tavshin Mevov, when the court case started, so I arrived on Yud Gimel Kislev, the day when the judge ruled that the Rebbe does not have to come to court Chas v'Sholem and give evidence. But anyway, so we saw what was going on every day, every day. And something that I remember so clearly, personally, resonated with me very strongly. That in the Fabrengen before the Yud Kislev, before the court case started, which was Shabbos Pashas Vayishlach, was Zayin Kislev, the Rebbe in the Maimer is not Mugeh, Smargel Bekum Beberove Tachlos Kochim Tshuva Maisim Toivim, is one of the Drushe Chasna of the Rebbe. This is in the Sheva Brachos of the Rebbe's Chasna, the Friedrich Rebbe said, and it's actually been translated to English by Sichas in English. I think they've entitled it "Breaking Barriers Through Joy" or something. Anyway, in this Maimer, I still remember how the Rebbe emphasized so strongly. The Rebbe here is talking about, it says Tachlos Kochim Tshuva Maisim Toivim, and he's referring to the Friedrich Rebbe's Maimer about the Indian of Tshuva. And he says that there is the Indian of Tshuva by some Anoshim Pshutim, simple people who are not great Bale Yediyah V'Haskolah, they don't know a lot and they don't know in depth the matters of Chassidus, and they become awakened to Tshuva, U'boichim B'mar Nafshom, and they cry very bitterly. And we see B'muchesh, we see evidently how they say Tehillim, and the way they say Tehillim is with a broken heart. Says the Rebbe that this union of the readers of Tshuva, this bitterness of Tshuva, Einoi Shayich B'Deirenu Zeh Ha'achren Dora Dikkus to the Mashiach. It's not related, it's not relevant to our Doir, which is the last Doir, the Doir Dikkus to the Mashiach. And why? Kivin should B'Deirenu Ein Lonu Koyach Le'inyin HaMeridus. We don't have the koyach for bitterness. V'tzrichim his chaskus, his chayredus yiseirah. We need to have extra chizuk, his oidudus, I'm sorry. We need extra encouragement and extra chizuk. And therefore in our generation, Avedis HaTshuva is dafke mitoich simcha. And so too in regards to saying Tehillim, which is mentioned in the Maimer. Which is mentioned in the Maimon about saying Til B'Leiv Nishba. Then the Rebbe says, so it's known, the Pizgam of Rabbi Yisrael and Nisiyenu, the saying of our Rebbe's, which was given over to us by the Frierdiker Rebbe, the Siddur, and it's also printed, Tracht gut wird sein gut. I remember very clearly how the Rebbe said it with so much force. The Rebbe said it so forcefully as Tracht gut wird sein, the Rebbe screamed it. And by me, at least for me personally, I understood that this is the Rebbe's approach to the forthcoming court case. The Rebbe is telling everybody, and the Rebbe is being worried everybody, that what we have to do is tracht good with dein good. The Rebbe continues. What that means that the machshava, the thoughts in matters of toiv, this thought itself brings the toiv, the good with it. And there doesn't have to be any meridus, no bitterness. There doesn't have to be tehillim with bechir b'mar nafshe, with crying, with bitterness and mesinas achdoke, because the machshava toive itself, tov v'imo toiv, vet zayin good. And the Rebbe continues, since this is a haftocha of Rabbi Yisrael Nisiyenu, that when the machshava is in a manner of toiv, hari borur hadavar shekein yiyeh, it's certain that that's what will be. The Rebbe refers to the sipur, to the story of the Tzemach Tzedek, that Kain Hoya, that taka how it was. The story is, it's mentioned, that Frierdiker Rebbe mentions it in Igros, not in many places, one or two, maybe two places, I think, in Igros of Frierdiker Rebbe, that somebody who was by the Tzemach Tzedek, a chassid of the Tzemach Tzedek was there, and apparently there was somebody in the family who was very, very unwell, and he asked the Tzemach Tzedek for bracha. And the Tzemach Tzedek responded, das tracht gut wird sein gut. So he cried, he says, Ich soll trachten, the Rebbe soll trachten. I should think, the Rebbe should think. You know, what? So, if I remember correctly, Tzemach Tzedek said, like, yeah, aber man darf sagen, wie sie arbeitet. I didn't see it today, that's not what I said. He said, yeah, but I have to tell you how things work. So the Rebbe says that in the Tzemach Tzedek, we are told the story that the Tzemach Tzedek said it to one of the Chassidim Trachtim, the Zaygut, and that's what happened to Chen Hoya. So this is an Indian of Ma'aseh Rav, and especially that it was talking about something in regards to Brias Haguf B'Gashmius, physical bodily health. Achas Kama V'Kama V'Kolshke V'Kal V'Chayma, when you talk about Brias Beruchni, spiritual health. And being that this was publicized by the Siddur Reinu until it's printed, so we have a Heirah to each and every Yid, and that and we call them, so we understand that everything has to be mitoich simcha. So this is a Maimon that the Rebbe said, the Shabbos before the court case, and it was very powerful. Those who were there, remember, it was a very, very powerful approach. So together with this, about the great concern, they did use the word worry, because the Rebbe was showing the whole word of worry. Rabbi Yossi Gordon here, he had an unbelievable answer once from the Rebbe. Is he here? Tell us the Lashon. The Rebbe wrote to him, Yisoid B'Torah Mitzvahs, Inyan D'Ashgacha Pratis, Al Kol Echad Ve'echad Mamosh, Uma Mokoim L'Daigas. The answer that he got. Very, very powerful answer. D'Ashgacha Pratis in each and every day. Uma Mokoim L'Daigas. So what place is there for any worries? He says, Al Pitoyed that has to be Ulas Adam. And then the Rebbe again, without any worries. Anyway, the bottom line is that the Rebbe's approach to this whole thing, to this very, very trying situation, was in a matter of simcha and It's an Indian of Tran, good with Zayn good. Just one other comment before I call on the next speaker. The Rebbe mentioned there also very powerful words. That the Kitrud, although there is no question that Lubavitch does tremendous work, Chassidic Chabad do tremendous work. The Rebbe said, what was the Lashon over there? Oilam Umloi, I think was the Rebbe's Lashon. Tremendous achievements in Hafatzas and Mayanas Chutza ever since the time of the Gul of the Alter Rebbe. But nevertheless, in accordance with the koiches which are given from above and the brachas which are given, it's not kideboy. So my uncle, Rabbi Leibel Groner, like Gesund mentioned, I heard it from him privately, I heard it from him in his house, and he always repeats it over. The various treasures which he heard from the Rebbe privately in the Rebbe's room. The Rebbe once said, "Megist und megist und mit darf man something like this. Everything said like he held like he, sort of like making a hold of the plate. That all what has to do that what we are pouring. Look at himself pouring and pouring and pouring. I mean brachas and koiches and energies. And all really what one is required is to put there a keli, a vessel to catch it and to receive it. So, and I'd like to ask my older brother, Rabbi Yossi Groner, to share with us a few words in honor of Teves. Give him a l'chaim first. Time. Time.
I was able to be there the first 8 Teves, and there was just a few weeks before we came to Australia. He came about a week later, so he was there then. There was other people who came to Australia later on. I'm saying, but we were on the way to Australia just a few weeks before. So just to say a little bit what happened. Teves that day was Tuesday. Hanukkah was Shabbos. On Tuesday it was around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And Sunday people are davening. And then all of a sudden there's an announcement. Reverends. And after someone starts screaming, the Don Nasa, the word go around that the Don Nasa, as the burden word given out, the Don Nasa. They say that, what was it, was it public holidays or something like that, and actually the judge actually signed it before, but he had to come back to his office, that was on Monday, whatever it was, and then, anyway, so as soon as that was heard, of course you can imagine the whole place went crazy. Everyone started saying l'chaim, everyone started dancing in the streets and saying l'chaim. Then a half an hour, the whole place was rolling, the whole place was gelufen. Someone was given, I think in one of the papers, it was written, the write-up, he said, what's going to happen when Mashiach comes, all of a sudden, broad gray light, there's going to be announced that Mashiach came. So then everyone's going to start saying L'chaim, and everyone's dancing and dancing. So this is exactly what happened. Because it was the middle of the day, middle working day. They said some people were davening, some people were before they were davening. Okay, and even before they davened, they made sure to hop around and say L'chaim. You can imagine how the davening was, the chayes and everything like that. And this was the whole thing, the whole dancing and dancing and dancing like that. And boys, young kids like that. I had some boys that take the hospital, whatever it is, after drinking too much, whatever. This is young kids also, whatever was like that. This went on the whole time until Mincha. Mincha was a quarter past 3. Mincha was the first 3. Mincha was downstairs. In those days, everybody used to daven still upstairs. And those who remember, the weekdays used to daven upstairs. Today was Mincha was downstairs. And as when the Rebbe was coming in, everyone was in a even of Lufen, and everyone was screaming, the Dam Nasa, the Dam Nasa. They were saying, I don't remember exactly when the Rebbe came, he didn't motion anything, he just went straight up his face.
Speak louder, please.
And they davened Mincha. After Mincha, the Rebbe gave a Sicha, said a whole Sicha. I don't remember exactly what the Sicha was. I was also thinking about speaking about the Parshas Vayigash. About, I think it was the Parsha of the day. And then went on Farbrengens, everything like that, and then Mincha was the winter, the Mincha that night was early, it was 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever it is. And also the Rebbe came down again, I think he said a Sikha again. And then the whole night was a Farbrengens and like that, and people started coming in from all over the town. From all over the Shluchim came in, it was a whole big symphony to go to. That was Tuesday. Wednesday, so I remember exactly clearly, it was Wednesday the Rebbe went to the Oyel. Then he came back, and Mincha was upstairs, wasn't downstairs. After Mincha, the Rebbe said a Sicha, and I think one of the things is, what is this? What's the notion of this? So then the Rebbe said like this, that everyone, tomorrow, that everyone should write to join us and to write a bracha and to write a parak. The Rebbe said that wherever you are, wherever you're in a place where there's a scene of a tzaddik, exactly the Lashon, you can all look it up and see from Zion. So then you can write down with the join us into that place. And then he said everything goes through Eretz Yisrael through the Moras HaMachpelah, Al Yidei HaMechilas, which is all the tzaddikim, all the things they're going through. Yes, I made the Moras HaMachpelah. And then everyone should write that all Pijanas. I don't know exactly the motion, but that was the union that everyone should write for tomorrow. And then, I'm saying what happened over there was, Mincha was upstairs, the place was packed. So I couldn't see. I was just, I was there, I could hear, but I couldn't see. The bystanders, the Rebbe went out. He was going back to his room, and then he came back. And he said, this what he says has to do with Anoshim, the Tav. It counts to everyone, because we're standing in the, we're up to the part, you know, that the Noreinu, the Skeneinu, the Noreinu, so, of course, you can imagine the whole world went crazy. And everyone was writing agendas and things like that. I think everyone decided they're all going to send it to the oil. So that day, Thursday morning, when the Rebbe went to the oil, there were cars, boxes and boxes of letters. People sent letters all over the world. So that day, the fax machines had already started. Okay, so the people were sending from all over the world, and there were cars full of cars, which were going together with the Rebbe to the oil, to taking all these together and something like that. People wrote that what you should do is, since it's a very special time, Zman Yuchad, you should write, of course, everyone should write in that Mashiach should come. Okay? This was Thursday morning, and then the Rebbe went to the oil, and then Thursday night, the Rebbe came back, Mincha Meirev, I think the Rebbe said a Sikh again. And then there was the Thursday night, the whole night was Farbrengen, and they were dancing and singing and dancing and singing and dancing, and it was Lebedik, full. And then Shabbos was a Farbrengen. Motzei Shabbos, they were dancing the whole night. And Sunday was Asar B'Teves. And then there was a few people who said that this year, because of the Don Nassach, so a sort of Teves maybe is to be override. They said that in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, Hamikdash Beis Hamikdash, so then, when Malach, so they didn't fast Yom Kippur. Anyways, my whole Mitzvah Shabbos is the dancing every night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, the whole night, Friday night. Remember that Mitzvah Shabbos? Then they give an announcement before the fast. They said, you know, there's such a thing as 3 hours before Ness, whatever is before Menashach, to give an announcement. If anyone wants to say the time, do it now before Menashach, before this, whatever it is. Anyway, Sunday is a fast day, so then 3:15, Rebbe came down for Mincha, and they of course had Haftarah, like every fast day, and then after the fast day, the minhag of the Rebbe was to say, a Sicha Divrei Kedushim. So here, the Rebbe said a long Sicha from 3:30 till, I don't know, 5 to 5, something like that, I think. It was about a half an hour, 25 minutes after the Shkia. Okay, there was a whole Sicha till Mamash Shul Ma'ariv. And then the Rebbe washed his hands and davened Ma'ariv. Okay, and at the end of the Sicha, the Rebbe gave a whole Sicha, it's a whole long Sicha. But at the end of the Sicha, the Rebbe said a special Inyan Miyuchad. He has to thank those people which they came. Those people which came, and especially to be for the Simcha and everything like that, he gives a special thank you. I'm saying it very short, you can look up in all the Sikhs and so forth. But that was Sunday night. Sunday night, they were about the whole night again, everything like that. And then they were making plans that it should be, you know, even more Simcha, more this and that. And it comes out on Monday morning when the Rebbe came, I know exactly what was Shmuel. The Rebbe was saying, it has to be how you suffer in without Teves. This whole Indian has to be how suffering without Teves. Anyway, I'm sure, I think the Rebbe went to the again that day, Monday, I'm not sure. But Monday night, something happened, blew the whole place. The Rebbe said a Sicha for over an hour, so it's Yud-based Teves, and the Rebbe was saying the whole thing is like this. He said one of the things what he mentioned was, there's a whole long Sicha, you can read it. One of the things he mentioned, he said, our son of the Teves was our kindness, and you know, Siburis, those which all things. Then he said, that's a state that says in the Ramah, the Rebbe quoted a lot of times, the end of the Purim table in Mishnah Tamid. Okay, so the Rebbe was saying, wo steht das? Es steht nicht in Hilchas, Birchas Hashar, exactly what it steht in Hilchas Purim. And then he says, da diuk, when Rabbi Seiden the Siyeno, when they get the Zahiris in Indian from Mashka, the diuk is a dav sein kleine Kalashklach. Right, fear, whatever is in the diuk is a different flavor. Huh? Fear more and that different flavor. Fear, the dav kleine. And then after the Rebbe was saying was, then the Rebbe made, then he said the whole thing, this one, what you heard over here, on the just now they showed, one of the Rebbe said, he said, where do you find the Don Notzach? They found it in a Medrash, and the Rebbe called it a Medrash, the Rebbe used the expression, he died as Gedenksach, one of the things is, so the thing, the Ruach of the Shri, the Don Notzach, the Don Notzach, the Don Notzach. Okay, then the Rebbe made the Takana, that now the Shloshim Yom was there 30 days before Yud Shvat. So therefore, what you have to do is, what was the takana that everyone should, what was the three things or something to do? What was the self-forgiveness? And every 10 days they should send it over, give a duch. A faher, and then the Rab has to sign it, and then the Rab, and they give it into the Rebbe. And the Rebbe used the expression, one of the things the Rebbe said was like this, he said that there was a time that they had to be bechinnus. The Talmidim of the yeshiva had to have bechinnus, had to have exams. So the Hanhola gave in a report to the Rebbe Weiss that these Bachrim went through the bechinnus, went through the exams. But then he said there was some Bachrim, they weren't ready for the exams. The Rebbe says, what's the shot? You're in yeshiva, learning in yeshiva. We understand it. Some people will understand it. You have a special review for the exam. But the Rebbe used the expression that everyone had to write it in, He said, der was das nicht da reingeschrieben ist eine Reihe, als das nicht getan. That he didn't do it. That's it. That's in itself. If he didn't write it, it means he didn't do it. So this changed the whole thing, the whole place. He said the whole place is one of the greatest moments, I think, was that everyone was learning and everyone had to have the Fahara every 10 days. And now the thing is, this is what it was. Okay, so this was Monday night, and then it went on to Shash. Okay, this is a missile preview of what happened. That's it.
We'll just show you, we're going to see a few minute clip of the Sikha about writing the Pidyonis on